Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned.
Tune to madness, dial the rage. World's a jungle, stage by stage. Shock Monkey Radio. Feel the static, let it go. Monkey Radio. Twist the dial and lose control.
When I was, I think I was 9 or 10 years old, and I asked my folks, I said, I want to sign up for hockey. I want to play hockey. Because a bunch of my friends are playing hockey, and they're like, hockey's kind of a dangerous sport. How about figure skating? And so they ended up signing me up for figure skating, and I think I did it for like 2 years. Figure skating, walking up to the Olympic, I was at Lake Placid, New York. I lived 2 blocks from the Olympic Center, the speed skating rink, And so I remember I put on the skates with the little guards on and walk on with them all the way up to the Olympic Center and go skating, do these skating classes. And one year we put on a performance of The Wizard of Oz, and I was one of the Munchkins in the Lollipop Guild. And so in this production of Wizard of Oz, you had a bunch of people who were like good skaters, like 19, 20-year-olds, who were like training to be, Olympic hopefuls and stuff like that. And so the girl who's playing Dorothy, she was like 19 years old. Her name was Allison. I'll never forget her. And so we're coming out there and we're doing our classes and stuff like that. But when we're doing rehearsals for The Wizard of Oz and I'm in the Lollipop Guild, and when we get there, she was on the ice. When we leave, she was still on the ice. That woman, she was always skating. And being 9 or 10 years old, I was like, I get it. You look at a figure skater and you're like, I think I get the whole guy-girl thing. And yeah, I was like, I think that was like my very first crush was Allison doing figure skating. And I think stop, no singing. And I think on the whole, I think figure skating was a better experience for me than playing hockey. Although hockey players are quite in shape, and I'm not. But figure skating, like, it helped. I've never really had any real good handle on the thing called dexterity or agility. So that kind of helped me a little bit. So I don't know. We were talking about like winter sports. I was with some friends the other day, and because the Olympics and so forth, and I was just I had a couple memories shook loose. I remember when I signed up for hockey, my friends were like, you're going to go figure skating? We're playing hockey. We're playing a real sport. And I was like, well, you should see this chick, Allison. And, I learned that, hey, I like chicks, first of all. Second of all, I kind of, looking back on the memory, it's like I didn't really care what my friends thought of me. When I think back of all the words that hurt me growing up, it was usually comments by strangers. Even if I had a crush on that stranger, I said, I like you. She's like, oh, a nerd's talking to me. Help, Even that, it's like, even if I was a crush, you're still just a stranger. My friends, I didn't really care that she thought with all the gay jokes she made at me for the figure skating. You should have seen that chick, Allison. Anyway, welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I am your host, the Madman. I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkey over here. I'd appreciate it very much. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. Or you can follow me on social media over here. Okay. Yeah, so I was thinking about that, like how ice skating also like translates into like roller skating. And I'm kind of good at roller skating as well. Although like roller skating rinks give me trauma because I was dumped by like my first girlfriend on a roller skating rink, did a lock-in at my church, and Danny McBride saw the whole thing. True story. She broke up with me because I was playing that Simpsons, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 4-player game, like all night. And she's like, come on, it's a slow skate. And she dumped me. I finally got out to skate with her, and she's like, she dumped me. I was like, I finally did what you wanted. And I was depressed all night, and Danny McBride made fun of me. True story. Also, I lived up in Lake Placid. The first time I saw a guy ski jumping, I was like, wow, that looks crazy and fun. And then I went skiing and I realized, oh, I have absolutely no aptitude for this. So I certainly don't want to jump it. It was embarrassing, me skiing. Like fall down. On the ice, eventually I got the hang of it. When I was, when skating, I eventually got the hang of it and only fell down every now and then. But the skis, I don't know. I couldn't get it. Kept falling over. Hitting stuff, running into things. Anyway, it's like that scene in Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie's just got the skis and the 2 beer bottles. It was like that. Anyway, so so I don't want to die. So I was like, no, ski jumping's not for me. I did like watching we were watching the Olympics and I saw the speed skating, that was going on. And I always thought that was a very interesting sport, especially when it's singles and everyone's like competing with each other. But eventually they all just kind of get into a line with the same glide and stuff like that. And the reason is that even though they're competing, they know that they're all going to get much better times if that's the way they skate. Speed skating is interesting that way. Anyway, enough talking about the Olympics. We'll get back to it in the news, don't worry. Now we got to get to the cute factor. We got to get through the awe because I got a new puppy. His name is Dash. And people keep asking me, what breed is he? And I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea. If you can take your best stab at it. I've heard rumors that he may be a dachshund. He may be a dachshund. Maybe a Jack Russell Terrier. I don't know. But he's cute. He's mostly white, but he's got those blonde streakies. And this is the night we first met. And he had a long day being separated from his family, coming to our family. And no, don't do the black and white. You're talking about he's separated from his family. His family is nearby, though. He will see them again. Now those eyes look sad. I knew he was just tired. Now it looks sad. Throw the other picture up there. I want you to get an idea of how big he is, because he's like that big. All right, I threw out an Eevee for a size comparison, so you get an idea of like how big he is. Like, he is really tiny. And what's great about when they're dogs that are that tiny is that their piddles and poopies are small, and they're not like big enough. Like, you get a big dog and it poops in the house, that will infuriate you. This little guy, it's just, I mean the Eevee's poop is bigger. You know what I mean? But he poops candy, which is weird. And people are like, you going to eat it? It's like, no, I think I'm going to feed it back to the Pokemon. It's like, these are weird creatures. So that's why we keep them in pocket dimensions. This cute guy, not going to put him in a pocket dimension. Because it turns out that real animals, real puppies are cuter than any Pokemon ever conceived by man. And he's such a good boy. I've only heard him bark once, and that was when he was playing, And when he gets zoomies, he'll start running around and stuff like that. And that's cute as hell. And when he runs at you, I don't know how to explain. It's just like with a bounce. It's just all right. I'm really ruining my hetero street cred talking about a cute puppy right after talking about me figure skating. Anyway, let's go to a more serious topic with less cuteness. EK's like, well, do you love the puppy? It's like, of course I love the puppy. I was messing around with AI recently. I don't know if you noticed, but I started thinking about AI and what like other people might be using AI for. And I thought about these two questions, like type it in the chat. Hey chat GPT, keep me alive. What does it take to keep me alive? And I bet there are people out there that are asking AI for that. I'm just like, and I don't know if how sad it is in one way or another. The fact that you think you need to ask AI about that, or maybe it's just like you don't want to ask a person for that, because AI will tell you. Like, if I asked AI, it's like, how do I keep me alive? It's like, quit smoking, quit drinking, asshole. And it's like, I wish GPT, like AI would be like that. Chat GPT, be rude to me from now on. And so, also things like women might ask Chat GPT, like they'll upload a picture of themselves, say, make me pretty, Chat GPT. And what's Chat GPT going to say? change your hair, do your makeup this way. Would it be honest to say lose weight? uh, 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 get those tattoos removed from your fucking face, something like that, And so it bothers me that people will try to use AI in that regard. I use AI to make goofy little pictures. That's it. That's all I ask of AI. And even though I know I got the songs and stuff like that are created by AI, but my show is not an AI show. I physically write these stuff. I physically have these thoughts. I don't ask ChatGPT or Grok is what I use mostly. I don't ask it like, what do I talk about on my show? How do I stop myself from stuttering and coughing so much? And he's still like, quit smoking and drinking, asshole. Like, damn, ChatGPT, you're harsh today. And so I think you're starting to ask AI to be too much involved in your life. Many people are trying to asking AI to be too much involved in your life. After all, AI doesn't really care about you. AI is just a program, basically, large learning model program. But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's cold, it's impersonal, and it doesn't care about you. And I think why human doctors will always be better than a diagnosis like in Idiocracy, where they got, you put this one in your butt, this one in, and then the computer spits out what's wrong with you. I don't think that's ever going to be good. I think people are like, when somebody comes in, they got a broken arm, the first thing they're going to want is a human person to say, oh, let me take a look. Ow, does that hurt? Does that hurt? They want to be touched. People want the human element. And when you start asking AI to fill in these blanks in our lives for the human element that is missing in our lives, because the way that these things have like separated us in a way we could never have imagined. I don't know. I think you need to get away from the AI. Quit trusting computers so much. It's like everyone makes these jokes about like the Terminator. Skynet's going to kill us all. It's like, but I mean, do you really? Did you not see the movie? Do you not understand what could happen? Anyway, it seems like we're like head first into a big nightmare when it comes to AI. And anyway, maybe I'll touch more on this in the next topic. So let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl halftime show. I know it's been a while since that happened, but I heard like a lot of the people, my usual, the people I listen to, YouTubers and stuff like that I listen to, they talked about it. I saw clips on the halftime show. I didn't very much like it. So that being said, it's like one of the first songs I heard after seeing some clips and hearing some people talk about the halftime shows. One of the very first songs I heard after that was a Beach Boys song called Good Vibrations. You can bring up that picture that talks about a song structure. And so I want to talk to you about the difference between Beach Boys' Good Vibrations and any Bad Bunny song. Okay, first of all, the Beach Boys didn't really use looping. They didn't use like computers to make their music. They used musical instruments and recording equipment. And so when it comes to, I got to find the right point. Okay, this is the beginning, right? And in Good Vibrations, that's and the synth comes in. I love the colorful clothes you wear. Great beginning to a song. Great beginning to a song. And then you go into the verse, and the way the sun, plays upon her. All right, you can even argue that it has a pre-chorus. I'm picking up good. When it starts, the lower part goes in, and then the chorus is actually good, good, good. Then it comes back to a verse, softer in the verse, back to a pre-chorus, back to another chorus. Then you get the shaker. Gotta keep those good vibrations. However, that's the bridge. It goes back into another chorus. Good, good, good. I know I can't sing it well. I don't know where, but she sends me there, which doesn't make any sense, actually. Think about it. It's like guys, like she's like, go to the mall and pick up something for me. And he's like, where? I don't know. You'll find out. It says just a guy wandering around the mall. It's like, I don't know where, but she sends me there. Doesn't make much sense. So I understand it wasn't necessarily a number one. I think it was like number 38. But you're talking about a time where there are real bangers out there. And when you listen to any kind of Bad Bunny song, it is not like this in any way, shape, or form. All right. First of all, Latin pop music is terrible. I'm with Matt Walsh on this. It's like mariachi music was bad, but Latin pop music is terrible. K-pop, they follow this formula. They follow music. And so I was just thinking about when I was listening to that Beach Boys song, it's like, are those days over? People create, it's so easy to create music like that you can't talk about a bunch of potheads like the Beach Boys making a song this beautiful. And they're like, what else do we need in it? We need a friggin' theremin, because there's a theremin featured in this song. Shakers, drums, synthesizers, guitars, all bass, all those usual suspects. But they have a friggin' theremin as well. You know what a theremin is? It's an amazing device. I'm telling you, it's wild. Go check it out. It is an amazing musical instrument. Almost impossible to play. And so are those days over where art is going to be turned into this regurgitated rhythm bouncing over and over again with just people talking over it in various languages? I don't know. I think people are just getting dumber. People are just getting dumber. I remember being a kid and when I'd read things, I would read to remember. And you know what? I still do. When I read things, I read to remember. Because I was trained in a world where all information in the world is right here at my fingertips. So why bother storing anything in your brain? All right. And I fear a generation that has come out now that has no desire to store anything in their brain because the information is this close at hand. And if we know anything about the internet, a lot of that information is wrong. I remember a quote from Bill Maher saying, is like, he was talking about using computers to tabulate votes and stuff like that. This was in the 90s. And he's like, well, there's one thing I know. And everyone in America knows, is that computers are huge fuck-up machines. I hear he hates people using his voice. So I want to do that more. So, the world used to be filled with far more interesting people. And I'm not saying the Beach Boys or Brian Wilson is more interesting than Bad Bunny. More talented, yeah. But it was just a different breed of people back then. A bunch of pieheads trying to figure out how to play the theremin. Not a bunch of potheads trying to figure out how to rhyme all the countries in the Western Hemisphere. So I think we're a dying breed, because I remember being like going around the world and it's like, there's tons more interesting people out there because people read. I guess a lot of it was the common culture too. Is like we all had the same 4 channels on every night. So you had like 4 topics at work the next day. And I was like, I didn't see that. I didn't watch CBS last night. So, I don't know. Are we a dying breed? I feel like I'm casting pearls before swine because, are you even following what I'm saying? Do you even understand what I'm getting at? All right. All like 250 subscribers, however many I got. Do you understand what I mean by that? Because sometimes people will say to me, it's like, I tried watching your channel, but I get 30 seconds in and I'm like, I can't follow this at all. And I have to turn it off. And I'm like, really? Really? Are you all so stuck doom scrolling that if I don't make you laugh every 2 seconds, then it's not worth watching or paying attention to? You're sitting there watching the intro and you're like, I'm doing the warning to cover my butt. And I have a little AI intro for my show. Are you clicking away during that? Because I can't hold my attention. It's not fast enough. It's not doom scrolling enough. It's not 5 seconds of something and then throw it away. Pearls before swine. Anyway. Let's go to a movie review. This movie's called Fight Another Day. 2024 movie. Like I said, I guess it's a new year, so like newer films are getting released on Tubi. And like most of the movies I review, like they're all available to watch for free, either on Tubi or YouTube Movies for free. Because, if I watch a movie and I talk about it, I want you to be able to watch it as well. And this is one of the ones I would recommend you watch, even though I have some things I will say about it. First of all, fantastic characters, great characters, and that always makes a movie for me. It always makes a movie great for me. I like good, well-rounded characters. The movie kind of centers around this cop who's at the top of the triangle there. He's from 1989, and it matters. And his name's Ryan, and he's a cop, and he died. And so he's been selected to fight in this arena against other people who died in history, and to avoid a paradox, once he dies, they'll throw him back to where he was. That way there's no paradox and nobody's like, oh, where these bodies keep disappearing to and going to fight in the future, like 2067 or something like that. They get pulled into the future and fight other like legendary people. And you see here down here, there's this guy, he's like the host of the show, Fight Another Day. His name is Varys Romulus. And I guess it's based upon the father of Rome or whatever, suckled at the teat of the wolves with his brother. Apparently he was like the first season winner, and so now he's like the show host. And so basically he dies and he goes through his first preliminary round where they throw him in this room. Now this is what bothers me, is these sets where these arena fights happen. It's all like the same room, but it's just decorated differently for every fight. And I was like, that I understand you may have had a small budget, but couldn't you have done something more than that? Anyway. And so he's thrown in this room with like 7 other people, and they each have a dagger, and there's like standard fight, or whatever. We don't really care. And so last man standing, ultimo hombre, gets selected and moves on to the next round, which is a bunch of versus matches with a bunch of other people from history, basically. And what's great about this is that, you get a lot of bouts in the movie. Like 2 people like in the bout, will start fighting, and you're just like, oh, this is cool. And so I'll explain that here in a minute. But there's another great character that I like. His name's Colt. He's a cowboy, from the 1850s or something like that. He's great. There's a female samurai. And there were female samurais, you sexist bastard. Actually, I had to look it up because I was a sexist bastard. All right. And Keto made them equal. This is my note. I said Keto made them equal before Samuel Colt. Anyway, so you get a lot of these tidbits of versus battles coming up, and the overarching plot is not really intrusive until the 3rd act, and I like that. And you got to see a lot of bouts. Like the very first bout you see is the cop Ryan versus a knight. And Ryan, it's his first bout, and he gets a handler. It's Jim Belushi played a really good character which is his equipment manager. Yeah, and he's allowed weapons from his time. So what he has is a bunch of police riot gear, cop weapons, knives. He's got his leather jacket, and sunglasses, which is what he wore in this, because he was being filmed as like a reality TV show when he died. Pay attention to that. And so he gets to select from all this stuff, and so he's just fine. I'll pick a gun, but he doesn't know what he's facing. He's facing a knight, but his equipment manager does, and his equipment manager says take a knife. And so he goes out there, the guy in full armor with a claymore, the 6 foot tall swords, claymore, and he's like, oh boy, all he's got is like a 45, I think it was, and just empties the clip in this guy's armor, trying to get it into the eye slits and stuff like that, but it's much harder than you think. But let's be honest, knight's armor can stop small round ammunition. If he had a rifle or something like that, it might be a different story. But he just had the pistol, and eventually he had to use the knife to win. So, shoot. I shouldn't tell you who wins the fights. Anyway, assuming the cop is the main character, I guess you would assume he won anyway. All right. And then the next bout you get to see is the samurai woman versus, I think he's a Scottish warrior or possibly a berserker. I'm not really sure. Berserkers were Vikings, weren't they? So you get to see them fight. You get to see Colt, the cowboy, versus a Mongol warrior. You see them fight. You get to see the Viking fight a dervish warrior. Those Islamic warriors that like spinning a lot, whirling dervishes, as they say. You get to see the cop fight a Roman Spartan. And that fight really kind of pissed me off and like takes away a star because he goes out there and he's like better equipped this time. He's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna wear riot gear. I'm gonna have the pistol. I'm gonna have a knife. I'm gonna have pepper spray. I'm gonna have what else? Here's the confusing part. Was it a shotgun or was it a 40 Mike? Because there's some scenes where he's like, he's picking up the 40 Mike, which is 40 millimeter, like a grenade launcher. It also fires like canisters and special rounds and stuff like that, which is a single shot breech loading weapon. All right. And so he goes into fight with this Roman Spartan and he's just firing this 40 Mike like 5 or 6 times, like it's semi-automatic. And it was like, that's wrong. But then he and Jim Belushi earlier had a conversation about having a shotgun. And so there's a scene where the Spartan knocks the shotgun out of his hand. And the shotgun goes flying. It's like, I thought that was a 40 Mike. The shotgun goes flying. And then they fight a little bit with just the shield and pepper spray and stuff like that. Then he goes and picks up the gun again, and it's a 40 Mike, and he loads it with a breech and shoots again. What? Was it a shotgun or a 40 Mike? You lose a star for that kind of nonsense. All right, you get to see the cop versus a female soldier, which doesn't end very well. I don't like that one. Then you get to see the cowboy versus another Viking, but it's quite entertaining. Probably one of the best fights. And then you get to see Ryan, the cop. This is one of my. This is absolutely my favorite fight. Was the cop versus the samurai, because the cop pissed off the powers that be, the Cobra Kai guy there. He's like the guy in charge of everything. He allowed him no weapons for this bout. So he goes out there with just his leather jacket and his sunglasses looking cool. But the samurai's all decked out in all her gear. She realizes he's not armed. She takes and she kneels before him, laying her weapons down. And there's a quote, I wrote it down. She said, without peace, there is no life. There is no peace here. And she lays down all her weapons. She takes off and lays down all her armor and says, I will face you as you will face me. And so he faces her hand to hand, which is warrior code. It's Bushido, I think. And there is warrior code. Knights had it, samurais had it. All those Japanese fans are like, oh, ninjas are so cool. And it's like, yeah, but they're assassins, man. Samurais were warriors, and they believed in a code. And that what she said, without peace, there is no life. And what warriors do is they fight for peace. And unfortunately, you're stuck in this thing where you're just fighting for what? For entertainment. And that's, in a lot of these warriors, they come across through the course of the character arcs, they come across this belief as well. It's like, this is ridiculous. This is not what violence is for. Violence is to create peace. And I love the scene. And additionally, she did do some Aikido moves, although there were some other things added. There's not that many strikes in Aikido. So I was disappointed with her particular ending because I was like, why? Why do we have to do that way? I hate knocking off a lot of stars in this because the characters are so damn great. But there's some things that are just so disappointing. And so, and I don't want to spoil the ending, but 8 of 13 stars for Fight Another Day 2024 film. The low budget reveals the set to be very basic. And it's very hard to look past that. You have the stars up? EK? You conscious? So low budget reveals the sets to be basic and disappointing. However, the characters are quite strong, and I would recommend that you watch this movie anyway. Because if you have any trouble writing characters or something like that, it's like there's several well-rounded characters in this movie, and I always like a movie that does that very well. So yeah, be brave. All right, let's get into the news worth knowing. 2:30 on the dot. I'm a percussionist. I have a finely tuned internal clock, so that makes me a natural percussionist. All right, first story. Mamdani proposes raising NYC property taxes if state doesn't approve tax hike on the wealthy. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is calling for the Empire State to hike taxes on corporations and wealthy individuals in order to address the Big Apple's budget deficit, warning that the alternative would only involve the city increasing property taxes and dipping into its reserves. Mamdani has issued a preliminary fiscal year 2027 budget that involves a property tax hike, a prospect that he has described as his last resort. Quote, today I am releasing the city's preliminary budget. After years of fiscal mismanagement, we're starting at a $5.4 billion budget gap. I got to close this. My goodness. and two passed. One, Albany can raise taxes on the ultra-wealthy and the most profitable corporations and address the fiscal imbalance between our city and state. The other, a last resort, balanced the budget on the backs of working people, only using the only tools at the city's disposal, Mamdani noted in a Tuesday post on X. City Council needs to greenlight city budgets, according to the New York Times. As mayor of New York City, I have a legal obligation to balance the budget. I will meet that obligation, he said during remarks said on Tuesday. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We have to raise property taxes. We'll be forced to raid our reserves. This would effectively be a tax on the working and middle-class New Yorkers who have a median income of $122,000. Why don't you take that and go somewhere else and live much better, New Yorkers? Mamdani said, self-described Democratic Socialist, ran on that platform, promised to tackle rent costs. Mamdani said the preliminary budget takes the only path within our control, and added the city will go the route if there's no other way to achieve a balanced budget. So he's like, tax the wealthy or I'm going to tax everyone else. And I don't know if you noticed this, New York, but everyone with any sense is leaving. And pretty soon, New York's going to be nothing but a bunch of poor people with their hands out. And I don't know what you're going to do about that, New York City, New York State. You know, anyone who knows anything about taxes knows that the wealthier you are, the more they take a big chunk out of it. And so, and if you think rich people don't pay taxes, how do you do your taxes? Do you just throw an envelope at H&R Block and run with your fingers in your ears? I don't care. Just do it. How do you not know that this socialist nonsense is not going to work? You know what I mean? After all, when you start getting a socialist country and all the money floods into the government, and then all of a sudden the government are the rich people, and then all of a sudden when the proletariat take over, you're the rich people and you're the ones going to get eaten by the people. Before you, the people. So I don't know what New York's going to do. It's a mess. It's a mess. All right, let's go to the next story. Let's talk about this scientific community. Inside world's top science society's convention bashing Trump, pushing DEI in pronouns. Quote, felt like a funeral. All right, this is first on Fox. One of the world's largest and most influential scientific societies held its annual conference last weekend, which a Fox News Digital review found was littered with examples of progressive messaging, criticisms of the Trump administration, and woke workshops. Attendees who showed up at the American Association for the Advancement of Science event, that's AAAS, held at the Phoenix Convention Center from February 12th to 14th, were immediately greeted at the registration identifier stickers that use gender pronouns such as they, them, zer, and them, and other descriptors that critics have alleged have little to do with science and biology. If anything. During the meeting's opening night, shortly after a 10-minute hoop dance routine from the traditional Native American dancers, that's cool, AAAS CEO Dr. Sudip Parikh told the audience that it's been a hard and tough year for science and scientists in this country. He went on to blame Doge for the devastation of some of our science agencies and the president's budget request that cut science in half and, in his opinion, amounted to forfeiting the future. All right. When all these doctors and stuff like that and researchers are in these cushy government-funded projects, then you take that money away from them. And it's like, oh, I'm going to have to work. All right, went on to say, what happened over the course of last year is a rupture. Actually, this article's quite long, so I'm going to skip to like the relevant points. All right, I've gone ahead and read this article for you, so you don't have to. Additionally, lawmakers in the United States continue to warn about the growing threat posed by China, what they believe the CCP's infiltration of top institutions in the United States, particularly in the medical and science fields. The AAAS conference opted to allow the Beijing-based research institute, Chinese Academy of Sciences, to operate a booth at the event. The state-run Chinese Academy, which has faced controversy over China's government and military, over its ties to the government and military, has collaborated with a Chinese medical technology firm linked to the 2013 U.S. bribery case involving NIH-funded research. The company also installed equipment in leading American research labs. So it's Chinese-funded in China, and our enemies just love the whole transgender thing, the way we're all yelling at each other about ICE. They love that stuff, and they're stoking that fire. They're just stoking that fire, because they understand it could tear our society apart. Because you're so damn stupid, Men could become women. No, you're stupid. All right. In a statement to Fox News Digital, an AAAS spokesperson said a broad spectrum of the scientific enterprise attends this meeting. The topics covered were wide-ranging across the scientific disciplines and proposed by scientists. AAAS respects their First Amendment rights to free speech. Yeah, they had some workshops. I want to read the titles of some of these workshops. Let's see. All right. Workshops in the event, which provided gender-neutral washrooms, included a session titled Mao Min Lu, Nurturing Diversity in Science is Resistance, and another called Investigating the Role of Race in Clinical Decision-Making. Science. Yeah. Jeez Louise. All right, let's go into a different story. I'm just daydreaming here, trying to mock professional scientists. All right, winter sports are going on. I know that people wanted to go out there and ski. I know I can't ski, but you got to be careful out there. So 9 California skiers are still missing after an avalanche, and 6 were rescued. Emergency beacons helped rescuers locate 6 survivors near Lake Tahoe as powerful winter storm slams California. Wow. Beacons. 6 backcountry skiers, which is dangerous in itself, backcountry skiers survived an avalanche during the fierce snowstorm near Lake Tahoe in Northern California, but 9 others from the group remain missing in treacherous mountain conditions. 2 of the rescued skiers were hospitalized for treatment, according to the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. Officials clarified Tuesday night that the group tour consisted of 15 skiers, not 16 as initially reported. The avalanche struck Tuesday near Frog Lake in Castle Peak area, northwest of Lake Tahoe, prompting a 911 call reporting multiple people buried. Rescue teams navigated rugged terrain and treacherous conditions for several hours before reaching the survivors. Skiers were on a final day of a 3-day backcountry tour organized by Blackbird Mountain Guides, officials told the Associated Press. The expedition required traversing up to 4 miles of mountainous terrain while carrying food and supplies and staying overnight in remote huts. Authorities have said emergency beacons carried by the group helped pinpoint their location. Rescuers approached cautiously amid the risk of additional avalanches. Tongue twister. Incident comes with powerful winter storms. Got California, blah, blah, blah. Soda Springs, near the avalanche sites, recorded more than 30 inches of snow in 24 hours. Wow. The storm also caused widespread travel disruptions, obviously. Officials said the conditions remain especially hazardous, blah, blah, blah. No further update on the other missing skiers. Oh, boy. That is not good. So please be careful out there. Get those emergency beacons. But hopefully they all had them. Oof. Anyway. Let's do the next story here. We talked about Amber Glenn last week. I want to talk about her again. Because she's damn cute. She reminds me of Allison. I know I'm not her type. And I know I don't agree with her politics or anything like that. But she's still an American. And she had a rough day. So let's talk about it. American figure skater Amber Glenn emotional after costly mistake during Olympic outing. Glenn's performance kept her out of contention for a podium spot. American figure skater Amber Glenn, one-third of the trio known as the Blade Angels, had a rough performance in the singles short. Are they going to start a cappella group after this? They should. She had a rough performance in the women's singles short program at the Winter Olympics on Tuesday. Glenn, three-time reigning champion from the U.S., was in the mix for the medal until the very end of her routine. She landed a huge triple axel. Is it AXEL or AXLE? Which led to a triple flip, triple toe loop. However, Glenn was just a little off kilter and bailed out of the triple loop. She received no points as the double loop became an invalid element. The judging in this is weird. She lost 7 or 8 points with the bailout and nixed her chances of reaching the medal podium when the free skate competition ends on Thursday. Glenn was emotional as she came off the ice, telling her coach, "I had it." She scored 67.39 and was in 13th place at the end of the run. She tried to keep her head up on a social media post. Good for you, Amber. Quote, "The world has ended for me many times, and yet tomorrow still comes," she wrote Wednesday in an Instagram post with a picture of a smiling dog. Keep going. Absolutely. Keep going. Glenn had a rough outing during the team's event earlier in the Olympics as well. She finished third in the women's singles behind Japan's Kaori Sakamoto and Georgia's Anastasia Gubanova. Luckily, Lila Malinin, forgive me if I'm screwing up these names, blew the competition away in men's singles, and the U.S. picked up a gold medal. The women's singles competition, Alyssa Liu represents the best chance the U.S. has to making the podium. She ended the day in third place with 2 Japanese stars, Sakamoto and Ami Nakai. So here's the thing, Amber Glenn. I know you probably would never watch this show. You probably don't agree with me politically. And you're probably not as interested in me as I am in you, because I can fix you, babe. And so, but you're an American. You had a rough day. And I really appreciate, last week when I talked about it, I said you made me laugh because they don't want to see woke bitches winning. That was funny. You made me laugh. All right. And now you had this day, and, I was kind of emotionally invested in you, even if I don't necessarily think we'd like each other. So, but you're an American. You had a rough day. You've won before. And sometimes you just have a bad day. Doesn't make you less professional, doesn't, negate all your training. You had a rough day, and I was glad that you were able to pick your head up and get a happy dog picture, get yourself a cute little puppy, pick up your spirits, and yeah, your heart will be broken many, 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 many times in life. You'll have the worst day of your life many, many times, but you got to pick up and keep going. So kudos to you, because when you fall down on skates, what do? You got to get back up on the skates. America. All right, let's do I guess funnier stories. Funnier? And then we'll be out of here. Maybe a little early. Popular weight loss drug linked to rare pirate disease, researchers warn. GLP-1 medications may contribute to malnutrition as clinical trials fail to monitor food intake. Researchers in Australia are raising flags about GLP-1 weight loss medications potentially raising the risk of a rare disease. Scurvy, historically called a, quote, pirate disease due to long voyages at sea without nutritious food, is caused by a lack of vitamin C. If left untreated, scurvy can cause severe symptoms, according to the Cleveland Clinic. These symptoms include anemia, loose teeth, bruising, bleeding under the skin, swollen legs, rough skin, and wounds that fail to heal, along with swollen, bleeding gums. British pop singer Robbie Williams was diagnosed with scurvy in 2025, previously sharing with the Mirror that he experienced symptoms of the 17th century pirate disease after he'd been taking something like Ozempic. The disease could surface in the result of not properly providing the body with nutrient-rich foods, leading to malnourishment. New research suggests that GLP-1 drug users may be at greater risk. Systematic review of the Hunter Medical Research Institute in Australia found that although diabetes and obesity medications support significant improvements in weight loss, clinical trials have failed to report what people are actually eating while taking them. Quote, a reduction in body weight does not automatically mean the person is well-nourished or healthy. Claire Collins, laureate professor of nutrition and dietetics at the University of Newcastle, Australia, wrote in a press release statement, nutrition plays a critical role in health, and right now it's largely missing from the evidence. Future clinical trials should include validated dietary assessment foods and transparent reporting of food and nutrient intakes. We are calling for greater attention to nutrition when these medications are being prescribed to avoid malnutrition risk. These findings raise, quote, major concerns over the risk of malnutrition, including macro and micronutrient deficiencies, with adverse metabolic and nutritional effects being reported, Collins told Fox News Digital. Certain GLP-1 and GIP medications have a major impact on appetite and safety, which leads to overall food intake, according to the researcher. While the mechanism drives weight loss, it also increases the risk of inadequate protein, fiber, and vitamin and mineral intakes if dietary quality and nutritional adequacy are not carefully monitored. Collins noted that nutrient deficiencies are not specific to scurvy, There are other nutrients, if not consumed in adequate amounts, can lead to deficiencies. Iron can cause an anemia, for example, blah, blah, B1 leads to beriberi and Warnke's encephalopathy, according to Collins. Yeah, so this is not good. And I think this is why I've stayed away from this kind of thing. It's because any kind of magic pill is a cheat in many ways. I think that it's not good to do that. I think if you're going to lose weight, you need to learn how to do it naturally, you know. And I think cheating like this can always lead to something bad. I think God made the universe that way. That like there's never going to be a pill that we just take that and we'll never have to eat or sleep again or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. So ask your doctor if piracy is right for you. Symptoms may include random yars and yo-ho-hos. Symptoms may also include an affinity with parrots, a love of the sea, loss of eye, loss of hand, loss of leg, an addiction to booty. Oh my goodness. I laugh to keep from crying, right? All right, this is horrible, and I want to hug this poor vegan bastard. All right, a vegan passenger horrified by airline that served rotten sandwich on a flight. Worst meal I ever had. From the picture, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Airline is under fire after a vegan passenger was served what appears to be a moldy sandwich. Photos indicate. Paul Booker, a British tourist who flew from Cancun to London on January 14th, posted a picture of the incriminating sandwich, which was served on a Virgin Atlantic flight, name dropper, on X last month. Well, I guess he got a voucher. That's why, because he dropped their name. The picture shows 2 limp pieces of zucchini, what appears to be a charred, moldy pepper on a small baguette. I don't know why it's pink. I guess it's like a theme for like Valentine's Day, maybe. VGML, I guess that's vegan meal, 45G. Look at that. Yeah. God. Booker told Kennedy News that he served the sandwich as a breakfast option towards the end of his 10-hour flight. When he peeled open the sandwich bread, whoa, you skipping a step. I see a bite mark. He took a bite, tasted that rancid pepper, maybe? Or is that zucchini? What is that? He tasted that and was like, ugh, what is it? And then opened the sandwich and then was like, what the hell is this? It looks like, do you know that Rick and Morty episode where they like put the lowest setting on the dad, what's his name? Jerry, and just to keep him busy. And then the alien, he's like, I'm going to go get a sandwich. And he goes to a sandwich shop, and the computer spits out its lowest quality. This is what a sandwich is. Vegan sandwich. Okay, there. It's certainly the worst meal I ever had. It's certainly the worst offering I've ever had. There was no way he was going to eat the unappetizing meal. Sandwich looked like it was rotten. I showed it to my friend, and to be honest, it was almost like shock laughter. I bet. The flight attendant gave him a fruit salad and encouraged him to contact Virgin Atlantic for a voucher. That's good. It had this amusing writing on the box. We found love in a hungry place, Booker said, which he found ironic. I didn't even read that the first time. Booker said he spent about $820 on a flight. In return, Virgin Atlantic gave him a 100-pound voucher, equivalent to about $136. Thanks for the exchange rate. An offer he dismissed was as inadequate. Really, dude? Really? They could have given me about 500 pounds, about $680. Oh, the conversion rate again. But it wouldn't be a drop in the ocean to them. Oh, I see. Because they're rich, you deserve more. Kind of like Zoran Mamdani, huh? The passenger said the flight attendant seemed genuinely embarrassed by the incident. Sure. The airline, because, I mean, as a flight attendant, you got to look at that sandwich and go, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. That is disgusting. I can't believe that. I am so sorry. This is a quote. We never want to disappoint our customers. That's why it's disheartening to hear that Mr. Booker was unhappy with the meal served on his flight from Cancun to London Heathrow. spokesperson said. All customers, including those with specific dietary requirements, should receive food that meets our usual high standards. The episode highlights continued frustration among many travelers over airline meal quality. Meanwhile, American Airlines recently announced they will roll out for a limited time 1920s-inspired in-flight menu on select first and business class flights. The menu will include upscale dishes like beef Wellington and caviar, airline said. Ew. Beef Wellington, though. Yeah, I was thinking, I read that last paragraph and I was thinking, yeah, flying used to be a very pleasant experience. And I don't know what's been, is it the competence crisis? Probably. People just don't give a shit anymore. Or maybe it's just some angry, meat eater who's packing the vegan sandwiches and he just hates you. Look, I'm not a fan of vegans either. I think it's good that you eat a lot of veggies and fruit and stuff like that. You should, but you should also include some meat. All right, some animal protein to get those fatty acids going, and you need that. All right, but I mean, if you have dietary restrictions, because some people are vegan because they can't eat meat, but when you get a sandwich like that, and I'm vegan, I'm not vegan, so I would never eat that, ever. But still, as a person who knows that's disgusting, even if it was fresh, it's like, that's unacceptable. That is sad. That's the saddest sandwich I ever saw. The saddest sandwich I ever saw. And 100 pounds? I'm sorry. It's just a friggin' sandwich, dude. Gross. Anyway, this is going to be the end of the show. I'll remind you again that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I'd appreciate that very much. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can follow me on social media over here on X, or Twitter as I like to call it, at DNALETSAW. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter. At SLRobbins13 on Instagram. And Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman. And I love you!
The madman loves you all, from the big to the small.